Hey YouTube, this is Rescue Amusement Park Fan 62. It is Wednesday, January the 11th at about 7:15. Now, I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about the whole WWE getting sold deal. Now, here is the main thing about it. Nobody really knows as of this point what is going to happen. Right now, the main person or the main group that is being talked about that is going to get sold to is the Saudi group. I am going to talk about them for a minute, as well as others, the good and the bad of each. So let's get started. First, with the Saudi group, the thing is with that is the way they would run the company would be rather difficult to try and explain. Unfortunately, with them, they are going to really push certain people as well as don't push others. They're going to use the whole money factor into this equation as well. And unfortunately, one of the things I could see them doing is starting to bring in more Saudi Arabian based entertainers. Um, Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's one of the things I can unfortunately see happening. Um, Now, here is going to be the dark side of this, unfortunately. Unfortunately, one of the things I could see happening is basically if you are part of either the LGBTQ community or something in that ballpark, which they really frown upon, they're basically like either quit uh, or get punished, basically. Now, is that for certain? No, absolutely not. But it's certainly a possibility. As of now, there are two people who I can see quitting um, for that reason only, and that is Sonya Deville and Tegan Knox. I know Tegan just came back recently, but because of the whole Saudi deal, um, that's one of the things I can see happening. Now, as far as the women division as a whole, um, I'm not entirely sure what is going to happen with that division. Could they still have the women's division? Absolutely. Could there just be changes to it? Absolutely. It's just, we just don't really know what they want as of this point. Now, the other major factor in this equation is going to be TV deals. Because if you remember with the golf tournament Saudi had here in the U.S., they had a hard time trying to get a TV deal in place. Now, I don't know how companies like Fox, NBC, and all of them feel about that, which I will get to them in a minute. I just don't know how they would feel about that, and I'm sure that's part of something they're talking about. Now, let's go with Comcast slash NBC. Now, WWE has a good deal, I should say, with NBC right now, with um, because I think USA is part of an NBC thing. I will look that up to make sure. But the if they would buy it, I think it would probably be more of like just like a more like promotional things. So, like in, let's say, Universal Studios and all of them, they would start advertising WWE more, stuff like that. Now, as far as the product would be concerned, I'm not entirely sure how they would throw the money out there for that sort of thing. Um, because I don't know what they know about uh, that business as a whole. With Disney, you're kind of in the same boat because the problem with Disney in this equation is I just don't know how Disney feels about that in general. Plus, you add the fact that Disney has their own problems that they're dealing with right now. So that is something else to think about. Another one is I just learned about today is a group that owns the UFC. Now, that would be an interesting deal because I don't know if they would still keep WWE as the family friendly aspect of that equation, or if they would start turning WWE more into something like you see on AEW, the independent scene, sometimes with Impact Wrestling, with something like death matches, as well as other stuff like that. I just don't know what you would see. That is the main thing in that. And that's really about it. Now, the other main factors you have in this equation as well is WWE's main sponsors that they have now. I don't know how they feel about the Saudi. If, let's say, WWE gets sold to the Saudi Arabian group, how they feel about that, and if they would pull out. As of now, some of the WWE's major sponsors are Mattel, 2K with the 2K video games, uh, Snickers. They mostly do that for WrestleMania and stuff like that. I just don't know how they feel about something like that. Um, Overall, is still somewhat of a confusing thing. I know it must be chaos there with trying to get ready for SmackDown, as well as trying to get stuff for the Rumble and stuff like that. So it is going to be an interesting ordeal. What is going to happen? Um, and this is going to be a deal that's not going to go away anytime soon. Um, Unfortunately, how fast this will go through is anybody's guess at this point. Because when you're trying to sell uh, a public traded company like WWE, this isn't just something you can just slip under the table and it gets sold. Unfortunately, you have to talk to your shareholders, the board, among other things. So you have that. So I just don't know what to expect at this point. Um, Especially with Stephanie McMahon stepping down last night about this time.